Welcome to the Daily Recap. The United States government just sat down with one of the most powerful AI companies on the planet. Not to regulate them, not to investigate them, but because they might genuinely need them. Here is the wild part. The AI model at the center of this conversation, called Mythos, has people inside Washington seriously spooked. So here is the question nobody is saying out loud yet. Has Anthropic built something so powerful that even the most powerful government in the world cannot afford to be its enemy? Okay, let's lay out exactly what we know. Senior officials from the White House met with executives from Anthropic in what both sides are now describing as a productive conversation. That word, productive, is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. This was not a routine check-in. The meeting was specifically centered around Anthropic's Mythos model, which is the company's latest and reportedly most capable AI system to date. The discussions reportedly covered national security implications, the model's capabilities, and how the US government might engage with Anthropic going forward. Sources familiar with the meeting say the tone was collaborative rather than confrontational. That is a significant detail. Washington has spent the last 2 years taking a much harder line with tech companies. The fact that this meeting ended on good terms tells you something important about the leverage Anthropic currently holds. Anthropic, for those keeping track, was founded in 2021 by Dario Amodei and Daniela Amodei, along with several other former OpenAI researchers. The company has raised billions in funding, including massive investments from Amazon and Google. They have always positioned themselves as the safety-focused AI lab, the responsible adults in the room. Mythos appears to be the model that proves whether that reputation holds up under real pressure. The meeting happened this week, and the ripple effects are already being felt across the tech and policy worlds. Here is why this story is genuinely a big deal. And I mean for regular people, not just policy nerds. First, think about what it means when a government meets with a private company and walks away calling it productive because they might need that company's technology. That is a massive shift in the balance of power. Governments are supposed to oversee AI development. They are supposed to be setting the rules. But this meeting suggests the equation might already be flipping. Anthropic is not coming to Washington hat in hand. Washington is coming to Anthropic. Second, the Mythos model specifically is triggering these conversations because of what it can apparently do. While Anthropic has not released full technical details publicly, the fears circulating in policy circles involve capabilities that touch on critical infrastructure, intelligence analysis, and autonomous decision-making at a scale we have not seen before. When government officials are both scared of a technology and unwilling to walk away from it, that tension does not quietly resolve itself. It escalates. Third, and this is the part that affects everyday people most directly, the outcome of meetings like this one shapes how AI gets deployed in your life. We are talking about healthcare systems, financial markets, defense contracts, and government services. If Washington decides Mythos is too important to regulate strictly, that technology moves into critical systems faster and with less oversight. You feel that. Everybody feels that. There is also a geopolitical angle that cannot be ignored. China is racing to develop frontier AI models of its own. If American officials believe that distancing themselves from Anthropic's most capable model means falling behind Beijing, that fear will override almost every other concern. So the conversation shifts from, should we allow this, to how quickly can we deploy this? That is a dangerous place to be making decisions from. To understand how we got here, you need to go back a few years. When ChatGPT launched in late 2022, it cracked open a door that had been mostly closed to the public. Suddenly, everyone understood that large language models were not a future technology. They were a right-now technology. Governments scrambled. The Biden administration issued an executive order on AI safety in October 2023, one of the most comprehensive attempts to bring federal oversight to the space. Anthropic was actually held up as a kind of model citizen during that period, a company that engaged with regulators, signed voluntary safety commitments, and talked openly about existential risk. Dario Amodei testified before Congress. The company seemed to welcome the scrutiny, but the Trump administration coming back into power in January 2025 shifted the entire conversation. The focus moved from safety and oversight toward competition and dominance. The new framing became America must win the AI race, full stop. That change in tone is part of what makes this week's meeting so significant. A White House that is primarily focused on winning is going to view a model as powerful as Mythos very differently than an administration focused on guardrails. Anthropic has also grown enormously. The company is no longer a scrappy, safety-focused startup. It is a major player with government contracts already in place and ambitions that reach well beyond consumer chatbots. Mythos represents a step change in that trajectory. So where does this go from here? A few possible paths are already taking shape. The most optimistic scenario is that this productive meeting becomes a template for ongoing collaboration. Anthropic agrees to certain access and transparency measures in exchange for favorable treatment in government contracting. Both sides get something they want. The risk there is that the oversight becomes a rubber stamp rather than a real check. The more concerning scenario is that the fear driving this meeting, that fear of being left without access to the most capable model, leads Washington to accelerate deployment before the safety picture is clear. Several AI policy researchers have already warned publicly this week that speed and fear are a bad combination when you are talking about technology this powerful. There is also a regulatory wildcard. Congress is still trying to pass meaningful AI legislation, and a high-profile meeting like this one could either speed that process up or give lawmakers an excuse to stand down and let the executive branch handle it quietly. Watch for statements from the Senate AI caucus in the coming days. Their reaction will be a strong signal. What is almost certain is that Mythos is going to face far more scrutiny in the coming weeks. More details will leak, more experts will weigh in, and Anthropic will have to decide how much of the curtain it is willing to pull back. Here is the bottom line. Anthropic built something so capable that the White House flew to the table and left feeling good about it. That is either reassuring or terrifying depending on your perspective, and honestly, it might be both at the same time. This story is moving fast, and we will stay on it every step of the way. If you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. Like the video, hit the bell, and we will see you in the next one.